Make this carnival a special one at Spice Isle Jewelry. Get up to 40% off our collection of silver and gold jewelry with purchases above $115. Visit our 2 locations on Grenville Street, St. George's and Spiceland Mall Grand Dance and see our fine selection of traditional West Indian bangles, necklaces, earrings, rings and our unique handmade pieces. Step into Spice Isle Jewelry and shop in air-conditioned comfort with friendly, helpful and courteous staff. We also pay the most for scrap gold. Our repair service is second to none. Treat yourself or someone special with something special from Spice Isle Jewelry. Serving you since 1986. Call us on telephone number 440-3155 or 440-6648. Sale ends August 31st.
Yes. As you come in, go ahead and share up the thing. Share it up once, share it up twice. Welcome to Ride Along Live for Wednesday. Hey, Lenora, how you doing? Big up yourself. Thank you so much. Iona Van Newton. Ella. Everybody locked on and ready, guys. Today is another one of your episode, your show. We need your participation. We need your reaction because today was an historical day. Yeah? Yeah, Trinidad. Gordon Boney, big up yourself. Happy Independence to the family and friends in Trinidad and Tobago, guys. We appreciate you, we thank you, and we celebrate with you. 60 years, Trinidad and Tobago. Big up yourself. Jane Chateau, how you doing? Thank you so much. Judith, thank you so much. How you doing? Big up yourself. Everybody. Guys, today I said it's a discussion, So let me go ahead and share the thing on my page a few times. Spice Vern. How you doing, Spice Vern? You good? Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Spice Vern. We appreciate you, Spice Vern. Kerry Latouche. Big up yourself, Cheryl. Guys, if you have family in Trinidad and Tobago, like I have a lot of family members in Trinidad and Tobago. Arima, yeah? And I'm saying and sending out happy 60 to you guys, okay? All right. Family and friends in Trinidad and Tobago, big up yourself. Guys, as I was saying, today is a historical day in Grenada where we saw the 11th session of Parliament, right? We saw the ceremonial opening of the first session of the 11th Parliament, I should say. And indeed, it was historic. We saw a lot of different first time, right? We saw the first time a Muslim was nominated as a senator. First time. Couple other firsts. Couple other significant milestone that was celebrated here today. And we have 2 of our social media panelists, and of course, they need absolutely no introduction. They have been on the panel here before. But before I bring them in, because we don't have a lot of time with Kem Jones because he's headed to another engagement. But I want to bring you guys up to speed now. Give you like a summary of what transpired today. Take a look at this summary of the opening session today. Check this out.
This is News Card, bringing you the latest breaking news of the day.
So the first sitting of the 11th Parliament got on its way today. And we learned a couple new things, yeah. We learned that Jonathan Lacrette has one of the worst penmanship ever. Or what's it the best? Can't seem to figure it out. We learned that Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell won the pen because he worked hard for the pen. So give him the pen. And he also won more claps as well. But where is Leo Cato? Everybody looking for Leo Cato? Oh, there's Leo Cato. Hey, Leo, they're looking for you. Leo! Leo! Now, the truth and the fact, guys, Leo's supposed to act like that. It's not that Leo is deaf and he can't hear, they're calling him. He's supposed to act like that and put up some resistance. That is tradition. That is the old time tradition. So nothing wrong with Leo. As you can see right now, members are actually pulling him as he put up some maximum resistance before he gets sworn in as Speaker of the House. That's old time tradition. We also appointed today a female as the President of the Senate, the fourth in the history. By the way, to date, there have been no female nominated to the Speaker of the House. The senators, elected officials was all sworn in today. And we did see another first. Yeah, today. The first swearing in of a Muslim senator. Yeah, the first time in history that a senator has been sworn in on the Quran. All in all, guys, it was a great ceremonial event which saw other regional heads in the Parliament of Grenada. So, what was your overall take? The highlight, the low light, the dim lights? Comment at the bottom. I want to hear what you got to say. I'm going to be reading and checking out your posts. Keep it locked here to Ride Along Live. Okay, all right. So, that was a brief summary of what transpired today, right? So, joining us to summarize and put all of this stuff into perspective is on the phone line we have media personality Kem Jones and of course our journalist Dwight Sampson. Kem, are you hearing us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Kem, happy to have you. I know you're running around, you're busy as hell. I could understand, so you're on the phone line. Kem, give us a summary. What's your take on the event today?
Well, firstly, let me say good afternoon, good evening. It depends on where you are, to your viewers and your listeners. And it's always a pleasure for me to be on this very popular platform. And Junior, you're doing an excellent job. I want to say that I was very impressed with the level of, attendance, firstly. We had quite a number of people attending the event. In fact, I spoke to a person who has been involved in that for many years.
Yeah.
And he told me that's the first time he has seen so many people attending this ceremonial opening of the parliament. So there was a buzz, there was an excitement. Also, seeing the amount of young people being sworn in, taking that oath, both female and male, it made me feel happy because I have always advocated for youth involvement in politics, in policy making. In other words, we cannot be on the sideline looking at the big folks, quote unquote, the senior folks, quote unquote, the elder folks, quote unquote, making the decision when we are the majority in
Right.
terms of the composition of our population. So I was very, very impressed with that. Seeing Leo Cato become the Speaker of the House, that was excellent, right? And Dr. Decima Williams also becoming the President of the Senate. And some people may say, well, boy, look as though St. Andrew this time wrong, getting more than their fair share.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really moved with the level of professionalism, the level of decorum, the level of, in other words, that standard has been brought back. The way Deacon Mitchell spoke, the Honorable Prime Minister, the way some of those ministers spoke, but really and truly, my takeaway there, Junior, was that life in itself is a stage. And there comes a time when you need to know, well, your time of acting, performing, doing is over, and you need to exit gracefully. Some people just don't understand that. And that came from a number of people. And I summarize it in that way, that Dr. Mitchell time on the stage came, gone, finished, and it was a kind of mismatch, a misfit. Him being among those young, energetic, forward-thinking people. At this point in time, it was a misfit. Not only that, he came late. And I can tell you, Junior, I could make this individual with mud. He intentionally came in late with the hope that he would get some round of applause or some kind of attention. But that did not happen. Further, when he took that oath, Junior, it was just a laugh. It was people seeing some comedy, some comedian on display. And I don't want to be harsh to this guy, but he needs to be called out. He thought that he was still existing under his leadership in the parliament as prime minister, where it was just kicks and joke but the audience was not tolerant of that kind of thing. So they saw it as some kind of comedy show on his part as he stressed, I, Keith Claudius Mitchell, do solemnly swear that I will bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, and whatever. And he started to stress this thing, so help me God. It came across as a person who wanted attention. he wanted a pen. Okay, they could have given him a whole van load of pens. And he wanted applause. Well, give me more applause. Give me more claps now. It came across as though this guy was not meant to be there, but he just made his way there, and like he expired. His time has come to an end. But all in all, Junior, when the Governor General gave that speech, I mean, her delivery was somewhat boring. Her reading of the speech was boring, really, really boring. Right? People was kind of swooping and so on there, let me tell you. But the content of the speech was what was significant. Hearing about the legalization of cannabis for medicinal purposes and, producing stuff, creating meaningful or gainful employment, decent pay for people. That industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I was extremely happy with that because that's something that I have been advocating for with Youth for Change, because we believe that is the direction to go. People cannot just see cannabis as smoking a weed by the side of the road, or smoking a joint, or smoking the pushing peng, or whatever you call it. It has to be more than that, right? When he spoke about, when it was mentioned that the NDC will build a teaching hospital facility, that's something that I have been advocating and pushing for a very, very long time. The previous NDC started that process. The NNP stalled that process. And I think it's a good way to go, because remember, when our Grenadian brothers and sisters, and also those who come from abroad to study at SGU, particularly, in the medicine or health area, they tend to go to the United Kingdom, the United States for the last 2 years or so of the practical aspects of medicine. And to live here, go and rent in the United States or rent in the United Kingdom, spend money there. That's money we could keep right here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, right? So it's a good move. We would have experts coming here to teach them to, and then all people will get the opportunity to do surgeries and other things like that. That's a really, really good move in my view. He spoke about emphasis on young people, on, education, health, agriculture. That is really good. Infrastructure. What really caught my attention too was when they announced that, look, in all government buildings throughout the island, like community center and facilities like that, they should have internet that is open, separate and apart, open, that the public could use.
Right.
In other words, you go there, you don't have to be guessing and fighting for data and fighting for Wi-Fi and so on. So that is good. And the focus on workers, making sure that they get their pension, making sure that there is a good industrial climate, working relationship between employer and employee. That is really, really good. I was really impressed. The whole package was, to me, very impressive. And based on the feedback I've received, seems as though it was well received by nearly everybody.
Right. We have Dwight on as well. Dwight, what was your reaction of the event today?
Let me just get after Green Carriacou, Martinique, and all at large. I thought about exactly what Kem.
Hold on, Dwight. Your audio is kind of breaking up again. We're having that audio IO issue again. I don't know if you could.
And
yeah, guys. Again, we're talking about the historic event today. It was the first session of the 11th Parliament in Grenada, and as I said, it was historic. The turnout was, as I said, was historic. We also had members of the heads of government around the region that was also there. We saw Roosevelt Skerritt, plus other dignitaries in the parliament. And we're seeing it's not the first, but it's definitely was a momentous occasion when we have the swearing in of the president of the Senate. That was a great moment. And for the first time, Grenada nominated a Muslim senator. All right, and he took his swore in on a Quran, which was the first in the history of Grenada. All right, let me go back to Sampson. Okay, we lost Sampson there. Kem, while we try to get Sampson back there, I want to talk about appropriation and in terms of funding for the opposition, and the opposition the opposition district and members of the opposition, what kind of appropriation, financial appropriation, usually does the opposition side get in terms of for the district or the constituency?
Right. Well, you see, Junior, in our democracy, once you're in opposition, really and truly, you're not the person behind the wheel.
Right.
So the government runs the show.
Right.
Whoever is in government will run the show. And even if they have a person who is elected for a constituency, the government can actually have an office there where that person has nothing to do with it and administer all the programs and programs and activities and everything else. The member of parliament for that constituency receives, I think it's about $1,200 or so dollars.
Right.
Right. That's about it. Because when Tobias Clement was minister of, the opposition leader.
Yes.
And Dr. Mitchell was prime minister, he was clamoring and saying, look, you need to give more. You need to have, a proper office set up. You need to have money allocated for the opposition for that constituency. But if we, as a people, can recall, and if we are honest with ourselves, what happened in St. George Northeast was a situation where they set up an office. Tobias had nothing to do with that office. Again, the same operation that he was running.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't go there. They had a line person responsible for that constituency, doing the drains, doing the road walk, doing everything, the seed and all the different programs. But government was actually administering that. So the opposition, really and truly, they have to cool it, right? And let the government do what they have to do in the different constituencies. Collect the $1,200, budget with that, because, the Imani trainees, they were budgeting $700 and $800 for quite a number of years. And, they saw it as appropriate. Now is the opportunity for Dr. Mitchell, for Delma Thomas, Emlyn Pay. Well, her name is Faith now. They start calling her Faith, amazingly. Mm-hmm. Right? Kate Lewis, and who's the other person? Peter David, and those folks. To take that $1,200 and budget for gas, budget for cell phone allowance, budget for electricity, budget for food, and budget for everything else with the $1,200. Right? They are custom with the how much thousands and thousands of dollars and all the allowances and so on. This is the table turn, and I'm happy with that, Junior. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about that. The government must be allowed to do what they're supposed to do in the different constituencies, put their people in place to administer their programs and make sure that the program is successful. In fact, those folks who are not a part of the government team, they win their seats. They should get nothing, zero. No constituency allowance, no allowance whatsoever at the constituency level.
Yeah, let's try again for.
Right?
Sorry, Kem.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, let's try again.
No,
with Dwight.
I was simply saying that's my position.
Right.
They should get zero.
Right. Okay. Let's try again with Dwight. Dwight, are you able to hear us?
I'm hearing you loud and clear from
all right.
my end. I'm just
okay. So good. We got Dwight back on the program here. Dwight, what's your reaction? What's your thoughts on this historic event today, the first session of the 11th Parliament?
All right. So good afternoon, Junior. Good afternoon to my colleague Kem, and to Green Card, Kupiti Madnik, and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Today I was actually beaming with pride. This ceremonial opening of the 11th Parliament is one of the first sessions of the opening of Parliament I've actually watched the program in its entirety, from start to its finish, including listening to the throne speech, which was quite a bit boring. Just the way in which Her Excellency would have read the throne speech. Other than that, I think that today's session was one for the history books. I am very, very happy and comfortable knowing that the transformation has even gotten to the House of Parliament. As the Prime Minister would have alluded in his interview thereafter with legendary broadcaster Brenda Batiste, that this Parliament is going to be about substance more than hype, and the conversation is going to be based on substance. And so I'm looking forward to the conversation. And I want to agree with my colleague Kem when I say this, and I say this absolutely no apology, I think that it is a monumental embarrassment that we had Dr. Mitchell and Clarice Moles sitting in the parliament among these young people. I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting in a place where I'm seeing all these young people around me, I would have felt misplaced. There's no question about it. I would have felt as if, what am I doing here? And I'm beginning to feel like the Prime Minister would have felt a bit of that, because been clamoring for attention, the entire thing.
But right, is it unfair to ask? Is it unfair to ask why they're doing here if they was duly voted in by their constituency?
But then I mean that's a reasonable question. But then the other reasonable question to ask is, at what time or what period is it enough is enough? When do you decide to bow out and raise up the next generation? Excuse me, of leaders. Dr. Mitchell has been in the parliament for 40 years. So Dr. Moles just about 20. I mean, when is enough enough? When it's time that you mentor and raise up the next generation of leaders? When are you going to say, listen, it's time for me to pass the baton on and sit back and...
Okay, hold on. Just stick up in right there, because I think we need to dive a little deeper in there. If the constituency keep re-electing them, who is it for us to say that is their time to leave?
The constituency could re-elect them as much as possible, but at the end of the day, I mean, do you have a conscience? You're telling me that you've been in the parliament for 40 years in the same constituency. You have not raised up a young, energetic leader that you can safely transition power to, and you can say to the constituency below, I have mentored, I have trained, I give my support to this person, right? And you go out on the campaign trail and support them. A good example of that, Junior, is in St. Kitts. Dr. Denzel Douglas has been Prime Minister for 20 odd years. The man, I mean, don't stab at me. I still do believe that he should bow totally out of politics. But the man has handed over the leadership of the party to a younger, vibrant leader. Step aside, run in his constituency, because his constituency people really wanted him. Run in his constituency, won in his constituency, and is supporting a young Prime Minister. And I'm saying, this could be the situation that we in Grenada. You cannot tell me after 40 years you have not mentored nobody, that you have not trained nobody, that you have not schooled nobody. There should be an option. There should be options of young people, male and female, that could vie for the seat. So Jonathan Lacroix could have had fair and equal competition at the polls, right? And this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I have no problem with the constituency branch re-electing someone to sit in the parliament. But you have to make that decision that, listen, I have been in this for 30 years. It is time for me now to hand over the baton to another generation of leadership. Because you in your period in your as Prime Minister, you've been taunting and running and raving about youth and youth development and all that. And the simple foundational principle of inclusion when it comes to young people. And that is one of the reasons why I personally can never support the National Party, because they say one thing in one breath and do the complete opposite with their hands. They say it with their mouth and do something different with their hand. But going back to the Parliament, the ceremony opening of Parliament, the throne speech, though it was pulling teeth to listen to, just in the way Her Excellency would have read it. It was rich, and it was not a throne speech that was a reality throne speech. It wasn't flawed initiatives, or they wondering, well, how you won't get this done, or how you won't get that done. We're talking about sports tourism. We're talking about health tourism. We're talking about legalization of cannabis. Something that has been happening in the region, may I add, for about 5 to 10 years now. There's been conversation about it. Grenada has just never signed on. Well, I don't say sign on. Grenada has not yet begun that conversation.
Right.
They're talking about ICT, paperless, moving toward paperless, and the initiative. And what I love about and I'm not saying this because I am an NDC supporter. I am saying this because almost every public engagement that this government has had, they always go back to their campaign promises. You hear it every single time. They're reminding you that they haven't forgotten and that they're sticking to the plans and initiatives that they came to the Grenadian people with during the election campaign. We heard it this morning to our speech.
Stick up in there. We only have Kem for like about 5 more minutes because he has to go to another engagement. But I'll come back to you, Dwight. Kem, I wanna pick your intelligence on this topic. Because I know that's something that you've been talking about, are very passionate about over the past weeks. When do you believe that we'll start hearing a rigorous debate between Dr. Kit Mitchell and Deacon Mitchell, or the opposition and the current administration, on stuff like phone gate, cell phone gate, fate, and other very widely spoken about items? When do you think we will start hearing those debates?
Well, look, Junior, I want to commend Simpson for articulating in such a manner, because I believe what he said speaks to what the Grenadian people are actually talking about, want, and believe in. His view is realistic.
Right.
That is, it's grounded in our people and what we believe in here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Matic. I want to say that we are convinced that investigation will commence in all of these matters. It's just a matter of time. In fact, I want it to start right now because I want to see some of these people go to jail. When I went at the parliament today, I saw Sheldon Scott, for example, at the parliament there. I mean, maybe he's there to capture certain moments with Dr. Mitchell and NNP and so on. But in my mind, I saying this guy should not be here. He should be where he really should be. Right? When I look up at the hill, at Richmond Hill up there, I could see him up there. Right? But he's not there. And I am simply saying the investigation will commence. Just give it some time. Things are gathering pace. We have been looking at quite a number of things. In fact, as I told people, I have a bag of... You ain't seen nothing yet, Junior. You ain't hear nothing yet in terms of misappropriation, corruption, wrongdoing, all kinds of stuff from the past administration. I am simply saying at the end of the day, you ain't seen nothing yet. We have a lot to expose and let the public know, but investigation will commence and some people going to go to jail. Believe me on that one. They're going to go to jail and they will have to account for the wrongdoing for the many, many, many years. And look, people are looking forward to that. People voted for that. Good job. People are looking forward to that, Junior?
Yeah.
Here in Grenada, people are looking forward to that. And I would really want to see some decision on that front in going forward. And I believe it will happen. Because, look, a friend said, one thing with Deacon Mitchell, he is not the kind of person to just speak, and not act. He take his time, he's meticulous, he take his time, and then he will do what he has to do. And that is what is important. So I am convinced it's just a matter of time for all these investigations to kick off and for some conclusion to be had on them. And I'm excited. I'm excited with what I've seen thus far. I'm excited about the future. Because I believe it's great. People are happy. I've never seen that before. A lady came up to me today. She said, "Oh God, Kem Jones." She said, Kem Jones. She said, happy. She said, I don't want nothing. She said, I already have and so on. But she said the level of peace that she enjoys, the level of happiness that she enjoys, it's remarkable. It is remarkable.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. But while he was speaking about the historic moment of the first Muslim to be sworn in as a senator. Look, this young man is very intelligent. This young man, he has a track record of service. His family has a track record of service to country. They put country first. And he's a Grenadian. For people who don't know, he's a Grenadian. I believe in this young man. I believe he will contribute significantly to the richness of the parliament and to the business community. Look, I am excited about this individual, and all those who have been elected or appointed to go in the Senate, and not only that, in the House of Representatives, to really make a meaningful contribution towards the advancement of this country. I'm really excited. I've never been so excited, you know. I said to a friend, Junior, he said, well, Kem Jones, you look at a big work. I said, look, I was never in this for big work, you know.
Right.
The peace I have, it is more than $1 billion. I am at peace. And the Grenadian people, they're at peace, Junior. I'm excited. Today was a very, very, very good day, right? And seeing Roosevelt Skerritt, seeing the, well, that's Dominica, the Prime Minister of Dominica, seeing the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, and, you know, some other diplomats and so on there to support Deacon Mitchell. I mean, it was kudos upon kudos upon kudos. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Kem, thanks for chatting with us, because we know you're on a mission. You're heading down to that event, and we just sent out our congratulations to all the ministers, all the MPs there for us. I know you're going to be rubbing shoulders with them.
It's always a pleasure, Junior. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And Sampson, you have a guest there, you know.
Yeah, man.
Junior, thank you very much for everything that you have done, not just for me, but for many people. And keep up the good work, my brother.
Thank you so much, Kem. Thank you so much. All right, guys.
All right, blessings. Great.
Yeah. Sampson, what about you? We've been hearing a lot. I mean, within the past couple weeks or so, we heard so much about the faith organization. When do you think that, or do you think that the NDC, the now NDC, would contribute time into investigating? Because it was said that even with the suitcase thing, that the government probably wasted so much time and they lost necessary time that was needed to do administrative work. Do you think that we'll see that debate in Parliament?
Okay, well, let me begin by saying that the NDC government of 2008 to 2013 should never be referenced in any particular way. And let me say why. I am one who fundamentally believed, when I was a journalist in Grenada, and I don't need to say where, because I think most people would know where, I began to do some investigative work and found out that the NDC party, the NLP party, had cronies in some of the ministries, and would have used those people to peddle and backpedal lies and propaganda that ultimately led to the NDC administration failing. It's something that the Honorable Lennox Andrew would have mentioned on the campaign trail, and it's something that I personally know for a fact. So what this NDC administration needs to do is to protect itself against that, first and foremost. And while I'm on that, that brings me to the whole conversation of what has happened in Carriacou. And I saw the reaction this morning, and people's reaction to Tevin. He was one of the ministers to have gotten the least applause. While applause doesn't make a man, it gives a reflection of how people think. And let me say this. The NNP party and the NNP administration as a party, as forming the government, which had formed the government, created opportunities for its people, whichever and however they could, be through the Imani program or all of these community liaison officers and these community outreach officers and these community.
Okay, hold on again, right? We're getting that audio breakup again. You probably need to just refresh and come back in, and your audio will be good again. It was good going, and then it started to break up really bad. In the meantime, guys, we're taking your call live, getting your reaction. Just go back out and come back in, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we're taking your reaction live, guys. 718-701-5720. Reaction to what you saw today, right? Some of you guys watched it. Some of you guys watched snippets of it. We have a summary that we're going to post, but I want to get your take. I want to get your reaction on what happened today. And also, you know, someone have reached out to me and they were saying, at what point are we really going to start to come together? The election is far behind us, but still there is still this partisan divide. You know what I mean? At what point are we actually going to start the nation building and coming together and putting all hands on deck, because that's the only way we'll get forward. Not as a NNP or NDC or this party or that party, when everybody come together. And they want us to start this conversation. I think it's necessary as well. So we'll see what this new parliament aim to do in bringing Grenadians together, not on a political agenda, but as a nationalistic agenda, as a Grenadian. Dwight, you back with us?
Yeah, you hear me clear now?
Yeah, it's clearer now. Guys, so again, Dwight is back with us, and we want you to chime in as well. The number that you call right now on the WhatsApp is 718-701-5720. Let us know your reaction on what you saw earlier today. Dwight, go right ahead.
Yes, I was saying that let us not get distracted. But indeed, I agree that organizations like Faith and all of these other things need to be exposed, need to be investigated. The taxpayers, the hard citizens of Grenada, their tax monies should not be involved in wanton spending and giving it to the party supporters for whatever, whatever gain. And I was making the point before I had to go out and come back, that you had all of these people having all different job titles, and when you do investigation into these jobs, what exactly do they do? Your community liaison officer. What does a community liaison officer do? Does you know that when you begin to ask the serious questions, you can't get the answers, because guess what? It was just an opportunity to give a cousin, a friend, a supporter, somebody involved in the party branch somewhere, an opportunity to earn $1, because they're trying to keep them happy, so that they will continue to vote for the party in the successive elections. And while I'm not for, I am totally against taking other people's mouth. I want to believe, and I want to agree, that these persons who that's causing the stir knew what they were getting into, and they knew that had the NDC won the election, that they were going to be without their job, either by leaving themselves or by being asked to leave. So to push this whole victimization, and I'm being victimized and all of that nonsense is really, really pitiful, right? What I've seen this time around, comparing to the time 2008, because I was around in 2008, is not, I don't want to say a sense of fair, but the people who usually take information from what was happening within the cabinet of the Tillman Thomas administration and carry it up to Happy Hill, other places. But when hold on again. Just mute your video and just let me hear your audio, because we really want to hear it. Right? Yeah, probably that the audio will sound clearer if we don't have video. Go ahead. I'm not sure that's going to help, but I apologize for that. I'm not even sure what's going on with the service.
Yeah.
You hear me clear now?
I'm hearing you a little better. Hopefully it stays that way.
All right. Yeah. So as I'm saying that I don't want the government to get distracted. You create a task force or committee involving police, and
it's not working better, Dwight. It's not working better. In fact, it's actually sounding a lot worse. So let me just go to the phone lines right now, guys. We open up the phone lines if you want to chime in on this historical day in Grenada, the first session of the 11th Parliament, where we had a number of firsts, and we also had members from the regional heads in Grenada celebrating Grenada. First session of the 11th Parliament. What's your take? We saw the throne speech. I watched the comments at the bottom. I saw what everybody was saying. And one of the things that I saw you guys keep talking about, and someone actually tagged me this, and they said we should actually have a panel to discuss this further, is the question of having the Queen as head of state, right? And everyone have to have to read this and in honor of the Queen. Now, it has to be like this until it's changed, like how Barbados changed that. Barbados is now a republic. Without that fundamental change, it will continue that way. What I firmly believe that that change would enable my child, your child, anybody that born in Grenada or whichever island to now know that they could be born in that island and become the head of state. As it is right now, that is one margin, or that is one ladder that they can't cross, right? They cannot be the queen. So open it up. I believe that we should have give every citizen of the country the opportunity to rise to the highest level without any barriers. So I think that that's something that the government should take on as soon as possible too, because it does sound pretty annoying for real, and I agree. People say, "Oh Lord, why they have to pledge allegiance like they have to pledge allegiance to the Queen," and knowing the history behind it, people are very upset. But it will remain that way until it change, right? Like how Barbados was able to do it recently. All right. So let's also talk about this guy. 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Something you should have to explain. I guess the younger children don't know that. Yes. So it will continue, guys. It will continue to be that way until it is changed. It's a whole government change. It's a whole referendum. I believe it's a whole referendum change. And we all know what happened in the last referendum. There's a 2/3 majority that's supposed to be met. And in order to attain that 2/3 majority, one party cannot or may not be able to attain that 2/3 majority, that's 67 or so percent. It means that they would have to work with both sides. So both sides kind of have to want to do this, both the NNP and the NDC. But we all remember, when we hear referendum, we remember not too long ago when we had a referendum that failed. All right. So it's a conversation that we really need to have. All right. It's a conversation that we need to continue to have, but it's a serious conversation. Because just like how people were serious about changing the name of Carriacou, Pity Martinique on the passport cover and all of that stuff, even people, when that was brought forth on the referendum, that failed. Even people in Carriacou and Pity Martinique voted against that. When there was so much, different things that I think was very useful, like knowing the date of the next election, or knowing the date of the election. And not only the prime minister could dictate there's a fixed date for election. All this stuff was good stuff, but it didn't go forward because it became politicized, right? So if we really want to have the removal of the Queen as the head of state, we have to be prepared to have serious conversation, serious dialogue about it, and both parties have to come together, and both parties have to do this. But for now, it's going to remain that way. It's going to remain that way, just the way how it is. Okay, let's try back Dwight again. Dwight, you're back with us. Try again. Well, right now we ain't hearing nothing at all.
I was muted, sorry. Hear me now?
Not good enough. It really sound crappy. Yeah, it really sound crappy. Let me put up the number back on the screen, guys, because I want you guys to comment on this, because we are bad. I realize that we, as a population of people, Jed, we are bad on social media. Sometimes we just go on the live, whichever live it is, Jed, and everybody they just objecting to everything, right? Because they are behind, they just objecting. But when it comes down to actual working and putting the practical work together, they always shine away. People want to say things like, no, we're having this conversation. What's your take on this, right? And everybody, they would comment, but they won't call, right? There's over 600 people on the live, right? If you're serious about it and you have a point of view about it, yeah, we want to hear your point of view. What's your take on how this stuff could be implemented? Is it important to you? Is it important to you that the parliament don't have to pledge allegiance to the Queen? Is it important to you that the head of state should be something that's attainable by anyone in the population? Is that important to you? If it's important to you, let's talk about it. Let's have some serious dialogue about it. All right? So again, 718-701-5720. Let's talk. Someone is saying here that the value of the dollar will drop just like the other islands. All right, we're watching. Okay, Dwight, are you back? Test again, Dwight. Let me see if I'm hearing you better. All right. Okay, somebody said they called many times and they're getting a voicemail. I'm not sure why that is the case. All right, let's jump to the phone lines. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
Hey, Junior, good night. Good night. How are you? Actually, I was driving and I had to pull aside.
Yes.
I'm calling from Trinidad.
Trinidad and Tobago.
And great. My roots is Grenadian, so a matter of fact, I have been one of the advocates for having the Queen removed as the head of state.
Right.
I think it's an insult to people of African descent.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing what the crown represented or still represents. I mean, yes, we know what history is behind the Queen and the crown and everything associated with slavery and so on. A matter of fact, I'm not even going to get into the conversation about reparations. I think once we want to say that we are independent and we're talking about autonomy and we're talking about self-sufficiency, we're talking about being a people that is proud, the Queen needs to be removed as the head of state. I spoke about it when we had the swearing of ministers, because definitely you could have heard the discomfort of many of the newly minted ministers having to pledge allegiance to the Queen, her heirs, and her subjects. We're talking about the Queen heirs, people like Prince Andrews. Come on, do you want to pledge allegiance to that? Disrespect intended. But if we're going to chart our course, especially going forward into the 21st century, we need to know that we are able enough, we are independent enough to have our own head of state, which can relate to us, which we can relate to, which is indigenous to us, which we can criticize, which we can praise, and everything that goes with it. This is long overdue if you ask me. If you look at Trinidad, when Trinidad became independent, I think after 4 years after gaining independence, they became a republic. Right. Because I think you cannot cut the umbilical cord halfway. It's either you have a total secession, and I'm not talking about in relations and so on, but those territorial heads needs to be done away with. And as we start the conversation about removing the queens, all of those old streets that represent slave masters and all those needs to be removed. Because just in this, I think it is an abomination. It is a daily reminder to us, and it's a disrespect to our foreparents to have people like the Queen as head of state, to have those streets that represent slave masters and slave owners and so on. Mm-hmm. It's a disrespect of African descent. That's how I see it. That's my 2 cents. Thank you. And I hold no qualms for that. I'm in total support of removing. It should have been done yesterday. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, the caller made a very valid point. Great. Because even as a country, Dwight, you back with us? Say something again. Let me see if the audio is back.
No, I was saying that I agree with the caller he was alluding to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think.
But I think go ahead, Dwight. Go ahead.
Yeah, we still swearing allegiance for successes and all of that.
Dwight, your audio still bad. Your audio still bad. Your audio still bad again, Dwight. Your audio still bad. More than just the appointments, or removing the Queen of head of state. There are some things I firmly believe, if we're serious about moving forward beyond that slavery and mental slavery that exists, right? We have to think about from a microscopic level. There are some streets, right? There are some playgrounds within our communities, and you hear the names of the playgrounds, you'll be like, well, why, who is XYZ? That playground could easily be named after some prominent person in the village, someone who did a cricket player, someone who has some prominence there. So before we even get to the conversation about the Queen, how about looking to your village and you see a street or you see a park and you're running around in the park and your kids running around in the park all their life, and is a Victoria Park or a name that you don't even know the person, or who is that? Who is that? So that's the first thing that I think we need to do. That is the first thing that we need to do. Yes, we want to get to the conversation about removing the head of state. We have to think about, as a caller said as well, how would that affect the currency that is used in the Eastern Caribbean region? Barbados did it. And there are different forms and shapes of republics, right? The Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the structure of governance is different to the United States, right? It is different. Trinidad president is basically a formality. It's more of a formality. The executive powers and the day-to-day executive work is done by the prime minister, right? In Guyana, who is a republic as well, it's somewhat different. We have the president who does the executive day-to-day operation, and the prime minister is merely more seen as a formality, a figurehead, right? So then you have to figure out what shape would the republic take, and as the caller rightfully said, how would that affect your bread? How is it going to affect your dollar? Does it mean that you may have to start printing your own money? And Lord help us if we have to do that as a small country. Where would that leave us? Right? So all of this conversation need to be had before we start talking about what they have to say, thing to the Queen. That's how the thing's set up right now. That is how it's set up right now. But we want your call. We want your point of view on this topic right now. We open up the phone lines. Guys, if you can't get us on the direct phone lines, we want you to call in on the WhatsApp. Yeah, Dwight, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that the Commonwealth of Dominica, a republic, a style of republic, still remains with the yet you obviously CCB, Eastern Caribbean Central Currency is still
not right. We're not able to make sense of what you're saying. We're not able to make sense of what you say. The audio is really bad. It's really cracking up. And I know you're making some good points. I know you're making some excellent points. But it's like every other 2 words we're hearing something. So it's really hard to understand what you're saying. Dwight, call me on the WhatsApp still. Call me on the WhatsApp. That will be clearer for now. Because I know you have some very good points and we're going to get your valid points. All right. Yeah, is the internet over on Dwight, and we'll try to fix that. Guys, again, we want to talk about this. We want to talk about the ceremony today, right? And let's go deeper into that. But let's also talk about the conversation that was happening within the conversation when everything was happening, the throne speech. Everybody on the chat was saying, hey, why do they have to say this? Why we have to have the Queen as the head of state? Let's talk about it. We got Dwight on the WhatsApp. Dwight, you should be hearing you clear now. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me clear?
Yeah, hearing you much clearer. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just apologize to the viewers. I am not even sure what's happening. I had to pull out the retirement, one of my old headphones and all kinds of things, but it just seems like it's not working, so I'm not sure what's going on.
But hold on, you sound like you're on speaker now. You sound kind of bouncy around, so I don't know if you want to take it off a speaker and just talk directly into it.
Yeah, so I was saying that I think it's definitely a discussion that we need to have, and it's definitely a route that we need to go.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we getting rid of the ECCB dollar. that we use as our currency. It doesn't mean that we will be getting rid of making the prime minister a figurehead. It simply means that our allegiance, the change of allegiance, and the change in terms of the structures, some of the structures for our executive branches will change. Excuse me. So I think it's generally a very, very informed decision that we need to make, and we need to do that not just for Grenada now, but for Grenada in the future, for the generations to come. We have had a very rich history on our own. We have done tremendous, have made tremendous strides since 1974, and we continue to do that till today. But I don't think while it is a very important decision, I don't think it's a decision that we should make just because we need to make that decision, or make the decision because the masses is saying that we should. I think we should weigh the pro and the cons.
Yeah.
There should be much consultation and discussion on the matter. The different NGOs, the churches, the various arms of government, and the different branches of government all needs to come together and add their voices. And we need to hear constitutional experts like Dr. Francis Alexis QC, Christopher Nelson QC, and so on and so forth, coming out and speaking, and giving us the raw data, the raw information. But Junior, let me just finally add that I think the time for that discussion, and I'm not talking about making the change, I'm talking about the discussion, is now.
Yeah.
Because we are in a season of transformation, and transformation has been the watchword since June, well, way before June 23rd. The whole conversation of transformation and the transformative agenda. And I think now is a critical time. Now is an important time. But it also is a lot of work for this present government. That will be another thing added to their plate. And of course, 5 years is not much time. They're already in governance for 2+ months now. And it seems like time is not going, but time is going, and it's going quickly.
Yeah, and 5 years, as you said, is not a long time. If any government need to work on its agenda, because you look at it like 5, but it's not even 5 years, say 4.5. Say 4.5, because in that half,
you have to say 4.5. Yes.
Yeah, because in that other half, you're probably campaigning for the next election, and you're not thinking about that. And there are so many agenda items at this point in time. This whole change, transformational items that's put forth during the campaign, and for the government to take 50% of their time and resources and put it towards removing the Queen of the head of state, that would basically cut down a chunk of the things that they would want to do as administration.
Yes.
So although people want it, everybody talking about they want it, is not just wanting it and just snapping your finger and let it happen like that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of things to consider. It's just a lot of work. It's a whole lot. And I promise you guys, within the next couple of weeks, within the next couple of weeks,
and it's costly.
And it's costly, very costly. Within the next couple of weeks, I promise you, I will have a constitutional scholar, lawyer, and a panel that would give us some more information on how the process go, right? Because we understand that people are annoyed and people are frustrated and they don't want to hear nothing about the Queen and look, Jamaica did it. How can we do it? Why can't we do it? All of these things. Trinidad, everybody, you know what I mean? But it's a process. And do the government right now have the appetite for that type of transformation? Because they didn't really even campaign too heavy on that at the time, although it was spoken about, but it wasn't the center of their campaign. There are a lot of stuff that they need to do. So that is the case. But we still want to give folks the opportunity to chime in. I saw during the conversation we had a call that was coming in. So guys, you could call us back again, because I want to get your guys' views on this, everything that you saw today, and just put your voice on the topic here, on the question of the removing the Queen of the head as the head of state, and also the first session of the 11th Parliament today. Caller, you're live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Crown Heights.
Crown Heights, go ahead.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, go right ahead.
Yes, I was thinking in terms of the brilliant idea you all speak about, the changing of some of the names in Grenada.
Yes.
But asking myself then, why did they call Don Granon's area Wall Street? I find some of the people in Grenada, they took copycats for me, in my opinion. For example, some of them speaking like Jamaican. They're talking in the air like Jamaicans. Like they do not approve or appreciate their nationality and their culture. So I try to find out why they call on the Wall Street when there are so many different names they can use in Grenada to name, I could say, rename the streets. You know, well, in Grenville and Jones, which is good. So some of us know Ben Jones, the younger people might know, you know, but I find it high time they use what we have and implement it.
Right.
And I do not understand why Grenada is called Pure Grenada. So isn't Isles of Spice something more realistic and really part of Grenada? So if we change the names and we look at the changes, we ask ourselves, maybe with a name change, we could identify the meaning behind the name.
The name of the state, the name of the state didn't change. The name of the state didn't change. The Pure Grenada is more of a promotional, was more of a promotional push or promotional pull. But the state remained Grenada, right? On the referendum, and in fact, it's a change the state, the name that exists on the state as was attempted in the last referendum. It has to be a referendum. It has to go to the people. And then there have to be a 2/3 majority, which is 67% of the population, right? And we all know NNP don't have 67% of the population. NDC don't have 67% of the population. So in order for that change, like when they wanted to make the change and put Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, right? So that that name would appear on the relevant documentation, like a passport and stuff like that. That was voted down, right? That was voted down, you know, and as I said earlier, even people in Carriacou that wanted that change for a very long time because the process became so politicized. Some people in Carriacou even voted against that article or line item on the referendum, right? So to answer your question, the Pure Grenada is not the change in the name of state. That has to go to the people. If you pick up your passport, it would say Grenada. That's what it would say on your passport. The name of state is Grenada, not Pure Grenada. That was more for a promotional, like tourism, you know, tourism push-pull, right?
But you know what? Growing up, I learned about Grenada and I learned Spice Isles and Isles of Spice, where everything is nice. But it's Jab Nation, we go in greens, Pure Grenada. To myself, which Grenada am I belong to? So, but like you say, hopefully they may have Tamburn Avenue, Tamburn Street, Mango Road.
I say, from a community level, what needs to be done?
Yeah.
Community people within the community have to rally their representative, because in my village, right? In my village, Union, Richmond, right? There is a pasture they call Union Pasture. They could change that pasture name and call it Raw Lewis Park, or Raw Lewis Pasture. Raw Lewis play cricket in there every day. Steve Mahan, these guys are known within the community. So it has to be done from a start as a community, from a community level first, right? You might be from Mount Horn, you might be from Tivoli or wherever, and there was a prominent person that lived in that area there, was an honorable person. I think it starts with the community to rally their representative and have that notoriety given to the person. And that's where you need to start. So when we're talking about big things like changing the name, which I said I'm totally for, but there's some other smaller things that needs to be done that we ain't even doing. from a small community level. He ain't even touching from a small community level. Why is Victoria Park in Grenville? Why you have to be called Victoria Park? Why you have to be called Victoria Park?
I know. You're right. You have to start from a community level because with this initiative, then you could go from a community level, then you could go to a parish level, and then you could go to the country at large.
Right.
So maybe with the going back to the community and having these community meetings, that will be good. You know, because it will give the people the opportunity to express themselves and be part of the transformation, be part of change, and then they can say, yes, I was part of that when they changed the name. I was on the panel, I suggested. Because a lot of people is very smart. They have brilliant ideas, but they don't have the avenue or the place and means to express themselves. Because like you say, we have prominent sportsmen.
Yes.
Calypso. It's so much we can do. Somebody who made a contribution to the community, we can use them. And after some time, they change it. Just like in schools, it's about time SARS changed the name from Pigot. Who is Pigot? And these kind of things in the house, in the house's name. So we start to know those names.
Well,
So
the names, the names at the houses, as far as I know, the names relate to some of the past teachers. In that, I don't know if all schools follow that same pattern, but like I was in Julian House, and I know it was named after Crystal Julian, who was a former principal of the school.
I guess that makes sense. But who is Pigot?
Probably was a past teacher. I don't know. I don't know who's Pigot. I'm sure somebody would be able to.
I thought it was a bird like Pippi Reed.
But
I was a bird name.
Nah, I think it might be a past teacher or something like that. I don't know. I could be wrong. But thanks for you calling in and chatting with us, caller. We really appreciate you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. 718-701-5720, guys. That's 718-701-5720. We're taking your calls live, and we're talking about the first session of the 11th Parliament that was held in Grenada today. It was a historical event on many different levels, and it was really the first time that a lot of people got a chance to watch the entire sitting. I know, because a lot of you guys haven't really, you don't pay much attention. It seems like more people are focused on what's happening in politics in Grenada these days, because the accessibility on social media. So I saw a lot of people, and a lot of people asking a lot of questions. One of the things, and I have Dwight on the phone, but one of the things that we saw today, and people was like, but what happened to that man? That man deaf? You see down there, they calling him. Why you don't answer? Leo Cato. And he was nominated as we got a call on the line. Yeah, he was nominated as Speaker of the House, right? And he acted like if he just there, and he wasn't coming up, and then some guys came and they pulled him up, and he was disgruntled. Now that come from far back, as late, quite down in history. So it's something that has been done and carried over so many years. The opposition leader, not necessarily the opposition leader, Speaker of the House, always acting that kind of disgruntled way, as he don't want to be appointed as the Speaker of the House. So that's what happened there, guys. So don't feel like the man didn't want the walk or whatever the case is. That's exactly what happened there. Let's go back to the phone lines. We got a call on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Calling from Guelph.
Go right ahead.
Right. And just to remind some of us people that we have the Cardboard Peters Park in Guelph.
Yes.
It was named after Cardboard Peters, a really avid sportsman. He used to drive a bus called Western, so they call him known as Chef.
Yeah.
I don't know if you may not know him. If I'm on the lands, Cardboard Peters.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they renamed the park in Guelph Cardboard Peters Park for it used to be Windsor Park, I think.
Right.
You understand? So I just hope that will help. Really.
No, we need to see more of that. We need to see more of that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
From a community level, right? And before we start talking about all of these big things, all of these things about replacing the Queen of the Head of State, How about replacing the name of Victoria Park in Grenville? Yeah.
Yes.
What
Yes.
that'll take no referendum. That'll take no going to the polls. That'll take nothing but just to rename the park after a prominent person in Grenville.
Exactly.
Union Pasture, everybody already knows Union. They could name it Ra Lewis, Steve Mahan. They could name it any one of these people and them. That'll take no referendum. So if we are unable to do the small things, if we're unable to do the small things, or we don't want to do the small things, and we're talking about the big things, which take referendum, which takes voting, which costs so much money and uncertainties and time from administration, come together right now and change the park name in your village, the street name in your village.
Yeah, I personally believe we should change the head of state, but not to another ceremonial head of state. But again, as I say, that is for later. It's time to change the local names, like what they did, the Morris Bishop Highway from Tyrrell Street to Hobart Blaze Street.
Yeah.
The one with Ben Jones, among others, you see, they could do it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting the people of the to do it.
Yeah.
We could only talk about it on the ground.
Yeah. True.
But if the people up there and doing nothing about it, there's nothing we could do on the ground about it. It's a talk. If you understand the point I'm making.
Yeah. Now you have a very valid point. Now here is what comes up when that conversation, when we start to speak about things like this, right? Okay. So there is Tantine recreational or Tantine playing field, right? That's in Tantine. But come on, everybody know that they're in Tantine. Give it a name. Give it a name of somebody. No,
of a local
somebody.
From the area.
That's when you start to talk about. So somebody could feel like they could attain that. Their son, their daughter could attain or grow up and be something outstanding, so they could get a field name after them. But as I said, when we started the conversation, like, okay, my friend here, Peter, he's from Union, Richmond, Ladigue area there. And I said, okay, change Union playing field. And he said, no, leave Union playing field. Don't touch it. You see, we start to already, we don't want the small changes, but we want the big changes.
You see, again, I could understand Peter up to a point there. Because you grew up with that name. You sort of get inside you sort of.
Yeah, but
so you take a lot of stamina to really get it out.
But change is necessary.
It's necessary.
Change is necessary.
I quite agree.
Yeah.
You need changing, but you go hard for maybe a younger person than somebody younger than Peter in the teens coming up might see the need. But Peter may not agree with that. And in a way, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
If you understand the point.
Yeah.
So that's how it is,
Thank you, my brother. We appreciate your point of view.
Okay. Right, cool. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, we have to, as I said, before we start talking about the big things, right? Before we start talking about the big things, we have to start talking about the smaller things. All right. Junior, stop that. Tantine. Right name is Roy St. John's playing field, named after Grenadian First Minister of Sports. All right, hand clap for that. Hand clap for that. Hand clap for that. Thank you, Giselle, for putting me in the place where that one is concerned. We got Dwight back on the line. Dwight, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So the conversation has geared now because they have so much talk about it. There have been so much comments under the post, under the live today about these playing fields and these streets and these schools or what have you that is named after, people that we don't even know. Right? But I'm saying that before we start talking about changing head of state, we have to first do it from a community level. What's your take on that?
Well, so to be honest, a lot of the names that we have, Monjaloo, Pedmota, those sort of names speaks to our rich historic background. It speaks to our time under the French, our time under the British, and so on and so forth. And I think changing them is basically shutting the door on our history. And there's a whole saying: if you don't know where you're coming from, you simply don't know where you're going.
Right.
And so I think yes, we do have to make some change in terms of names and so on and so forth. Maybe a street name or so, but for the actual name of the village, I think some of them, or most of them, if not all of them, should be maintained as it speaks to the historical. As its historical significance.
What if the name of these places or fields are colonizers' names? As we even see in the U.S. here, they are people who fought against the democracy of the United States, who fought against free life and liberty against the United States. Still, they have a big statue. And you pass every day and you see that hovering tattoo with this person on top of a horse. Well, that person was the one who instigated slavery and promoted for slavery. And yet they have a big statue on top of a horse with a whip over the head like that to remind Black people how they get whipped. And they call this whole area that name of that particular statue of that man who did all of this atrocities to people. Should that be allowed?
I was going to say before you interjected that probably what needs to happen is, and I'm not sure if it's something that the government would want to invest money or invest time and energy into. Maybe an exploratory committee should be set up to look at these names and so on. Because I mean, look, we have, for example, Halifax Street, which is named after Melville Street, which is named after a former governor. But we, until recently, had nothing named after Eric Geary, which is the father of independence, which is more modern day. And so you want to make sure that, and I mean, to be honest with you, I think some of these street names in towns have been there for over 100 years. Sometimes in some instances, I think it's time for a change to something more modern, something more recent, something that we can bear evidence with, something that happened within some of our lifetime, or our parents or our grandparents' lifetime. And so you can tell the story. The problem with some of these streets names and some of these village names is that they've been named so long that like the patois, so they have gone out. The history, the relevance has lost its relevantness. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, and it's very sad, but if you ask a teenager, 14 or 15-year-old right now, who was Eric Geary, and all they can tell you is the father of independence. They can't speak to 1950s his work for the working class of Grenada. Being one of the first instrumental in the introduction of adult suffrage. One of the persons who fought for independence, not just became the father of independence, but fought for independence. I mean, if you ask a teenager around that age, who was Maurice Bishop, I mean, let's come away from the celebrities for prime ministers we have. Ask someone who was George Rizan, who was Herbert Blaze, who was Nicholas Braffett.
Right.
They know them as prime ministers, as figureheads, but they don't know the history or the contribution that they make. Because guess what? The generation of people who hold those knowledge either died, and with the pandemic just recently, either died, dead, or gone.
Yeah.
And they go with the history with them. And so what you have is that you have these names that we're trying to teach in a school setting, but really doesn't bear any significance. It doesn't really speak to, it doesn't give you that sense of pride. That's what I'm looking for. It doesn't give you that sense of pride to say, I am from Monjaloo. Yeah. I am from Penmota, I am from Chantamel, or you don't get that sense of pride. So I think it's something that we definitely need to review, and bring it up to date. We have people like Anderson Peters, who has made invaluable contributions in the arena of sports.
Yeah.
What do we have to highlight his efforts?
Well, for Karani James, we have the Karani James.
We had to fight for that.
We
had to fight for it.
Yes, and we also had to fight for it. Lagoon Road was renamed Karani James Boulevard, but that is what I'm saying. There need to be appetite for change, right? Appetite for, as they say, for small changes. Before we could talk big changes, we need to understand that there need to be some small changes. And the small changes might be community-based. Yeah.
But when we got Lagoon changed to Karani James, there was really a fight. It didn't just happen overnight. It didn't fall from the sky. There was a public outcry. And it wasn't for anyone in St. George's. The people of Guelph, the Republic of Guelph, wanted something significant in Guelph to celebrate the hero. And then Tillman Thomas administration decided, well, let's make it more centralized and put it in the town.
Right.
But even in Guelph itself, there's nothing significant to say. You may pass and see on the sign, "Welcome to Guelph, home of Karani James," or whatever the case may be. But is there anything significant, to say, this has happened? We cry down River Road, for example, and not understanding that people like Junior Murray came from River Road, our first Gradient cricketer. So and the other thing about that too, Junior, is that over time, these areas, and I want to allude to this, and I don't want people from the Republic of Guelph to hang me for it, but gun battle has been a area that had a negative tone to it for many, many years, until Karani James run and win goal, and has changed the whole phenomenon of the area, and now people are proud to say I'm from gun battle. Before Karani James, people were not necessary. And I mean, if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected, but people were not necessarily saying I'm from gun battle, outright and boldly and proudly.
Right.
And I'm saying similarly with River Road has garnered a negative persona in the national community. And I mean, if we had changed the name to say, Raw Lewis Hill or Raw Lewis Community or Raw Lewis Village or Raw Lewis Road or whatever, it adds that pride, that sense of association, So I mean, a lot of names over the years have garnered a negative tone or intuition to it. And so if you want to change that,
right,
that is one way you can definitely start.
Absolutely. And I mean, I want to beat that topic for the rest of the next 5 minutes that I'm here, but it have to go back again to how we were educated and how we have to re-educate ourselves. Because I remember going to school, all we learned so much about the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, the 3 ships that Columbus used to sail around.
I'm calling on behalf of Barbara Walters with the Consumer.
All right. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And why we had to learn about that? Who idea was say, okay, well, you're gonna get a job one day, and you would need to somehow know about the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I have never in my life have to use that information, right? The information of the ship and the Columbus, and they have Columbus Square, and they give Columbus so much big accolades and big streets all over the place, and what that haven't done anything for me. So education is something again that have to be changed, and teaching kids practical stuff, practical daily things that could make them make money, that could make them live a better life. It's not all about money, but things that finding out what's their passion, utilizing their passion to to elevate themselves, right? These are the things that need to be focused on. But still, even in the curriculum, I think needs to be shaken up, man. The curriculum needs to switch up a bit. We're talking about Bitcoins and stuff now. People in China and England, and we're competing on a global level. It's a global level right now. You're in Trinidad or Grenada or St. Vincent or Jamaica, but you are actually competing with people in China and Singapore and France and all over the world. What about coding?
Yeah, indeed.
Teach them how to code.
Indeed.
Practical stuff, monetization. Teach them how to make money. People make millions of dollars just by being producers, content providers, using your talent for artists and all of these things. But instead, they're teaching us about Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. What are doing for you? That are doing nothing.
Indeed.
You know? That will do nothing. That will do nothing. But listen, Dwight, we have to wrap up. We're way above our time. Final closing thoughts, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation started one way, ended another way.
True.
We had some technical difficulties, but all in all, I think it was a sensible conversation. I think it you know, I love these kind of conversation where it is not steered by anything, any utterance of ours, but basically the audience, you know, steering the conversation in the direction of the information that they want. And so it was a very informative one. I think today, with the ceremonial opening of the 11th Parliament, really beamed some pride for us young people, to see Kareem, to see Ron, to see Andy, to see Tevin and all the other young people in our parliament, and we're looking forward to hearing their debates and hearing their conversations, so on and so forth. And then to get to the conversation about the names of villages and so on and so forth, I think it definitely says what is being uttered on the ground.
Yes.
So I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And you know, and we definitely need to celebrate our own. If this is one where we can do that,
absolutely,
let's do it. I think one thing about history is that history is forever being written. It has not stopped. And I think one of the things with us in the Caribbean, especially in these smaller islands, is that somewhere along the line the pen has dropped and never was picked back up. And I think that we need to really begin to celebrate our own. George Grant has died a few years now, and you know, it seemingly has gone into the history books, and the book has closed. You know, and we want to have these people celebrated. You know, so definitely, it's a conversation to be continued, Junior. And I'm always here when you need me, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Emma. Emma say it's the Nina, Junior. It's not the Nina or the Nina or the Nina. I try hard to forget these things because I'm telling you, I went to school and my composition book, and that was on essays and that was on tests. And imagine if you don't know these things, you fail. Imagine if you didn't know these things, right? They give you a big X and you fail, and you come low down in common entrance, and you can't go to the next level. You can't go to tertiary education because you don't know about the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Yeah, they call you dumb, so they call you uneducated, you know, bright, all kind of things, because you don't know about that. But the really and truly know, the people that's really bright are the people who know how to. That really people are really bright. Everybody have their level of intelligence. Everybody have their level of competency, things that they could do very well, right? They may not be able to remember the how much days it took Columbus to sail around the New World, or what time, what year he hit Grenada, so-called passed through Grenada, and the ships and all of this stuff. But they could freaking draw real good. Yeah, they could draw real good, harnessing that and taking the strengths that they have and harnessing it into and making it something that they could utilize for the rest of their life, right? They could utilize for their life. They could start businesses, entrepreneurship based on something that they have within. As I always say, everybody's like a mango tree. Every time I say that, people say, why are you talking about mango tree? Mango is all they just talk about. But it's true. Everybody is like a mango tree. right? Everybody have a purpose. A mango tree was put on the face of the earth or created or whatever to make mango. It have a purpose. And some people, they just haven't found their purpose as yet. But find your purpose and you're going to realize that if you harness your purpose and you train yourself more on that purpose, you could be the best at it. You could live your life doing it. And it's not even work. You don't feel like work. You just feel like you are just having fun. I know we started to talk about one thing and we're talking about this, but all of this thing comes together, you know. All of this comes together. At the end of the day, it all comes together, right? I saw another, and to answer the question that someone said that it's about time that we start to come together as a people, as a Caribbean region again. I think it is necessary that we get past the partisanship, and we start to talk about understanding our difference, but start talking about nation building, because we can't go forward with half the population on board. We need all hands on deck. We ain't gonna get nothing happening if half of the people is not supportive just because they're not supportive. Not because they don't like the idea, not because the idea is not a great one, but it's just not gonna support because I don't like who you voted for, or who you assume to be voted for, or who people say you voted for, whatever the case is. They don't like it because of that. And we ain't going forward because we have half of the population just against moving in a particular direction. We need to stop that. Yeah, we need to figure out how we could come together to move forward. Whether you don't want to use forward because forward is a political organization word, move ahead. Yeah, how that one song? Move further ahead. That is a better word. It's non-political. We need to do that. All right, we need to do that. And forget about the crab in the barrel syndrome that a lot of us have. Whenever we see someone in our own community rising up, we say, whoa, nah boy. You have to concoct some kind of plan to either get some kind of lasso to pull him down or to break the ladder halfway so he can fall, so you can never get up again. Yeah? Instead of being proud of seeing someone that looks like you climb up that ladder and is proudly going up that ladder of success or whatever. Instead of being proud of that, a lot of people just feel it's an opportunity to take that person down. And we need to work on that too. So before we talk about Queen, before we talk about changing the Queen, we have to take ourselves away from the mental slavery. The slavery that tells us that we have to envy our brothers and sisters instead of helping them up. You have $20. You don't need the $20. Somebody need $1. Somebody just need 50 cents. But you ain't gonna give them. Yeah? Because for whatever reason. You ain't need it at this point in time, and it could save this person's life, but you ain't gonna do it. So all of that, we have to start talking about that first. We have to get over that mental slavery first, the hatred that we have deep within first, before we start talking about anything else like Queen and head of state. All of that is the preliminary thing that we have to do. And it's true. Thank you guys so much, Val, John, and everybody else that stayed on, shared, and is a part of what we do here on Team Ride Along Live. We say we love you. Yeah, we love you bad. All right? I really appreciate you as well. So, we invite you to join us again tomorrow. Tomorrow we have another song booth. Tomorrow we have few artists on the song booth. They're in studio. They're going to be doing their thing inside the studio. I have a surprise for all you. Tomorrow is going to be nice. This weekend, we're getting ready for Labor Day, and that's going to be amazing. All right? Real vibe. Yeah, real vibe. Tomorrow. Thank you. On behalf of all our production team here, our senior executive producer, enough respect. I respect this woman, the hardest working person on the Team Ride Along. Lois JJ, thank you so much. To our hardest working moderators, yeah, they work hard. Lot of mercy. Deanne Fraser, Kibbs, and of course, Gail Charles, all you work real hard. Yeah? Thank you guys so much. Catch you again tomorrow. Don't forget, if you have a business and you want to advertise on the Ride Along Live, you want to advertise, you want to get your business out there, give us a call. I got to big up this business. Where is it? I'm going to be there on Saturday. They have a grand opening. Yeah. Motion Spice Natural. Grand opening. That's going to be on the 3rd. They start at 10 a.m. We go all the way down to 6 p.m. They're located at 1611 Nostrand Avenue. That's 1611 Nostrand Avenue. And that's in Brooklyn. Big them up. We're going to be there. So I could pull it up and give them a bly. Because I love to support small businesses, right? I love to support small micro businesses. They're just starting. So I could pull them up and give them a bly. All right, there it is. So that's where we're going to be on Saturday, guys. It's called Motion Spice Naturals. It's a grand opening on Saturday. They're located at 1611 Nostrand Avenue. Yeah, that's 1611 Nostrand Avenue. Real good vibe. Tune in to Ride Along on Saturday to find out more about Motion Spice Natural. Grand opening on Saturday. Again, if you have a business to advertise, if you have a business, an event, you want to get advertised right here on Ride Along Live, give us a call, inbox us, and we'll show you how you could get the maximum push for your business. Catch you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Canadian products are now only a mouse click away at GrenadaMarket.com. Nutmeg and guava jams, jellies and the syrups, world-famous nutmeg pain relief spray, black sage, soursop, lemongrass, and bois bande bar. Ordering is simple and friendly. All major credit cards accepted. Safe, secure shopping guaranteed. GrenadaMarket.com ships your product anywhere in the world. So when you can't go to the island, the products off the island can be sent to you. Just log on to www.grenadamarket.com and experience our quick delivery and homely service.
This carnival is special one at Spice Isle Jewelry. Get up to 40% off our collection of silver and gold jewelry with purchases above $115. Visit our 2 locations on Grenville Street, St. George's and Spiceland Mall, Grand Anse, and see our fine selection of traditional West Indian bangles, necklaces, earrings, rings, and our unique handmade pieces. Step into Spice Isle Jewelry and shop in air-conditioned comfort with friendly, helpful, and courteous staff. We also pay the most for scrap gold. Our repair service is second to none. Treat yourself or someone special with something special from Spice Isle Jewelry, serving you since 1986. Call us on telephone number 440-3155 or 440
Export Limited, Toronto, Canada. Shipping barrels and other cargo to Grenada in 3 weeks, including custom clearing and home delivery to anywhere in Grenada. They source, purchase, and ship new and used anything. Call or WhatsApp Eric, aka Greens, on 416-569-9755. That's 416.
Funeral service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Well, it's on Ride Along, so it's happening here.
Came over here. What does it mean? You know, I grew up in what I guess we call a typical family.
We break all the stories, and that's just a fact. And that's why everyone has a story to tell. Right along,